country specifically, when Native Americans, the First Nations in this land, and African Americans have suffered injustice that is far greater than anything Palestinians have ever seen. So I feel really humbled to talk about injustice in the land of injustice. But I think it is pertinent, it is relative. Fighting injustice in Palestine is relative to the fight for social justice in this country, for equality in this country, because not just the government of your country is the main supporter of our oppressors, but also because there's a moral obligation and there's a need to re-divert the great wealth of this country instead of fighting wars of hegemony and imperialism and killing people in Afghanistan, Iraq, Palestine, and elsewhere, to build up this country for the people of this country. So in this whole dialogue about whether Israel serves U.S. interests or not, whether the $6 billion a year being spent on Israel is worth to U.S. interests, isn't it serving the U.S. interest? I say define U.S. interest. Is it the interest of the people of this country? I really doubt it. It's the interest of the establishment, the oil companies, the weapons companies. Certainly, Israel serves those interests. But I don't see it serving the interests of the people of this country, whether African Americans, Latinos, white Americans, working class in this country. No one is being served by the tens of billions of dollars being spent on wars and atrocities abroad. Now, so the question again is the question of equality, of equal humanity. One main justification for the ethnic cleansing of Palestine that took place in 48 when Israel was established is that the indigenous population, the native Palestinians, are far less important as people than the colonial settlers that came mostly from Europe. The issue was looked upon as we are not fully human, actually. And you know what that means in this country, not being fully human. So we're looked upon as relative humans, what I call relative humans. Exactly like African Americans. Exactly like South Afrikaners looked at black Africans in the southern part of the African continent. It's this dehumanization. It's okay to ethnically cleanse, it's okay to kill, it's okay to oppress people who you don't view as equal humans. So that makes it much easier. It's okay to expel 800,000 Palestinians, to enslave millions of black men and women. That's okay, because they're not really human. Not being really human means you're not fully entitled to the full set of human rights that full humans are entitled to. Now, I'm reading a book by Ngugi Wa Thiong'o called Decolonizing the Mind. And I'll just read you a quote from it. He's a Kenyan writer, a very famous Kenyan writer, one of the most famous in Africa. And it's, again, very relevant, and it makes the connection for me much clearer. He says, the study of the African reality has far too long been seen in terms of tribe. Whatever happens in Kenya, Uganda, Malawi is because of tribe A versus tribe B. Whatever erupts in Zaire, Nigeria, Liberia, Zambia is because of the traditional enmity between tribe B and tribe C. This misleading self-interpretation of the African realities, he says, has been popularized by the Western media, which likes to deflect people from seeing that imperialism is still the root cause of many problems in Africa. Yeah. And he goes on to say that imperialism gives people who resist its hegemony the ultimatum: accept theft or death. The oppressed, he goes on to say, and the exploited of the earth maintain their defiance, liberty from theft. But the biggest weapon wielded and actually daily unleashed by imperialism against that collective defiance is the cultural bomb. The effect of a cultural bomb is to annihilate a people's belief in their names, in their languages, in their environment, in their heritage, indeed in themselves. It makes them see their past as one reactionary, all those forces which would stop their own stream of life. It even plants serious doubt about the moral rightness of struggle. Possibilities of triumph or victory, then, are seen as remote, ridiculous, dreams. The intended results are despair, despondency, and a collective death wish. And that's what we see today in oppressed communities in this country, in Africa, in Palestine, and all over the world. This attempt to crush our identity and to crush our hope, to crush our belief that we can and shall be equal humans with full equal rights. Moving to Israel and some examples of this system of oppression that we're facing. Recently, a researcher at Ben-Gurion University revealed that tens of thousands of Palestinian books were destroyed during Israel's establishment in 1948 and the years following that, specifically to Judaize the country and cut off the Arab residents from their nation and culture. And the researcher goes on to say, this was a cultural massacre undertaken in a manner that was worse than European colonialism, which safeguarded the items it stole in libraries and museums. European colonialists, they stole everything from Africa, Asia, and so on. But they kept it. You see it at the Louvre, British Museum, and so on. The Israelis destroyed it, mostly. An Israeli professor by the name Dan Schwektan also recently was revealed. He's a very famous established academic in Israel. He had this to say in a class that he was teaching to students. Quote, the Arabs are the biggest failure in the history of the human race. There is nothing under the sun that's more screwed up than the Palestinians. And he goes on and on and on. And he says, throughout the Arab world, people fire guns at weddings in order to prove that they have at least one thing that's hard and in working order that can shoot. Imagine an academic in this country making similar remarks about Jews, Africans, Latinos. They wouldn't survive. Not in the academy, not anywhere. They wouldn't survive. This is mainstream discourse in the Israeli academy. This is accepted political discourse in the Israeli academy. Just to understand the culture of racism and impunity. Malcolm X said about South African apartheid, they don't stand for anything different in South Africa than America stands for. The only difference is over there, they preach as well as practice apartheid. America preaches freedom and practices slavery. Israel is of the latter form, but it practices apartheid and preaches democracy but qualified. Jewish democracy. It's a Jewish and democratic state. An oxymoron, obviously. But what does that mean for Palestinians, for the indigenous people of the land? I'll give a few examples what that means, what this Jewish and democratic state means to the indigenous Palestinians. One example I'll give is from T-shirts. Israeli Army battalions, each battalion produces its own T-shirt, and they pride themselves on having different original designs and different attractive slogans and so on. The last few years, Israeli Army T-shirts have been quite troubling, and it was reported in Haaretz, one of the leading papers. One T-shirt had the inscription, "Better use Europe," a brand name of condoms, next to a picture of a dead Palestinian baby with his weeping mother and a teddy bear beside him. Another T-shirt from the Givati Brigade shows a pregnant Palestinian woman with a bullseye superimposed on her belly, with a slogan in English, "One shot, 2 kills." Yet another T-shirt had a little kid running and it said, "Don't bother running because you'll die tired." Another one depicted a soldier raping a girl, a Palestinian girl, and underneath it said, "No virgins, no terror attacks." Sociologist Dr. Orna Sasson-Levy, an Israeli Jewish sociologist from Barghouti University, has this to say in commenting on this prevalent phenomenon. But unlike in the US, in Israel, the army is mainstream. This is society. This is the melting pot of Israel. It's the army. every particularly male and female in a certain inclusive required to go on the service. So this is really reflective of society at large. So Dr. Levy said, this is part of the radicalization process that the entire country is undergoing, and the soldiers are at its forefront. She continues, there's a perception that the Palestinian is not a person, a human being entitled to basic rights, and therefore anything may be done to him. One issue that has stirred a lot